Hello, I'm Artifacts of Mars. And NASA reportedly, this is from BBC News, has a plan essentially to try to cool off the Yellowstone volcano. Now, what does this tell you? For one thing, it tells you that they are very worried about this. Because the plan could actually trigger an eruption. So in other words, if you ever seen the movie Crack in the World, it's a 1950s era movie. I think early 1960s. But anyway, they drilled out and they used a nuke to try to drill out magma, and they wind up almost destroying the planet. But what NASA is planning on doing is basically pouring water on the fire. At least that's what they're saying. Yeah, right. Lying beneath the tranquil settings of Yellowstone National Park in the U.S. lies an enormous magma chamber. It's responsible for the geysers and hot springs that define the area, but for scientists at NASA, or in other words, never a straight answer, it's also one of the greatest natural threats to human civilization as we know it. Potential supervolcano. Now, I thought we were told that this thing's stable and it's not going to blow its top. They're worried, folks. Right here's proof. Following an article published while supervolcanoes last month, a group of NASA researchers got in touch to share a report previously unseen outside the space agency about the threat and what can be done about it. As a member of the NASA Advisory Council on Planetary Defense, which studied ways for NASA to defend the planet from asteroids and comets, explains Brian Wilcox of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory at California Institute of Technology. I came to the conclusion that during the study that the supervolcano threat is substantially greater than that of the asteroid or comet threat. They're worried, folks. They're big time worried. There are around 20 known supervolcanoes on Earth, with major eruptions occurring on average once every 100,000 years. One of the greatest threats an eruption may pose is thought to be starvation, with a prolonged volcanic winter potentially prohibiting civilization from having enough food for the current population. In 2012, the UN estimated that food reserves worldwide would last 74 days. Now, 20 supervolcanoes in 100,000 years, if they meant one of those erupts every, if we were to take an average on that, but every 5,000 years, I don't think that's what they meant. I think they mean that between them they erupt every 100,000 years. Just wanted to clarify that. NASA scientists came to consider the problem. They found the most logical solution could simply be to cool a supervolcano down. Oh, that's all. The volcano size of Yellowstone is essentially a gigantic heat generator, equivalent to 6 industrial power plants. Yellowstone currently leaks about 60 to 70% of the heat coming up from the below into the atmosphere via water which seeps in the magma chamber into the cracks. The remainder builds up inside the magma, enabling it to dissolve more and more volatile gases in the surrounding rocks. Once this heat reaches a certain threshold, then an explosive eruption is inevitable. But if more of the heat could be extracted, then the supervolcano never erupt. Right. NASA estimates that 35% heat transfer can be achieved from the magma chamber. Yellowstone no longer pose a threat. Right. The only question is how. One possibility is simply to increase the amount of water in the supervolcano, but from practical perspective, it would be impossible to convince politicians to sanction such an initiative. Building big aqueduct uphill into mountainous region would be both costly and difficult. People don't want their water spent that way, Wilcox says. People are desperate for water all over the world, and so a major infrastructure project where the only water is used to cool down a supervolcano will be very controversial. Instead, NASA has conceived a very different plan. They believe the most viable solution could be to drill up to 10 kilometers down into the supervolcano and pump out water at high pressure. Pump down the water at high pressure. Circulating water will return to a temperature of around 350 degrees Celsius, thus slowly day by day extracting heat from the volcano. And while projects would come at an estimated cost of about $3.46 billion, comes with an enticing catch, which could convince politicians to make the investment. Yellowstone currently leaks about 60 gigawatts in heat. Drilling this way, it could be used to create a geothermal plant which generates electric power at extremely competitive prices, around 10 cents per kilowatt hour. You have to give the geothermal companies incentives to drill somewhere deeper and hotter water than they usually would, but it would pay back their initial investment, get electricity can power the surrounding area for a period of potentially tens of thousands of years. But drilling a supervolcano does not come without certain risks. You think? Mainly triggering the eruption you're intending to prevent. The most important thing with this is to do no harm, Wilcox said. If you drill on the top of the magma chamber, try to cool from there, this will be very risky. This could make the cap over the magma chamber more brittle and prone to fracture. And you might release a trigger of harmful volatile gases in the magma at the top of the chamber, which would otherwise not be released. So, I'm going to boil this down. I'm not going to let this go much longer. They can cause an eruption that they claim they want to prevent. They're doing some, at least they're not proposing use of nukes, like in Crack of the World. That's a movie that this reminds me of. But how they intend to drill down into there, I have no idea. This is scary stuff, folks. But what it illustrates is, it's probably not going to go forward, but it illustrates that these people are scared out of their wits, or they wouldn't be talking about doing this. So stand by. That's all I can say. If that blows, it's goodbye United States. I'm Artifacts of Mars. Thanks for watching.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Get some coffee, everybody. Calm down in Yellowstone. Yellowstone. Yes, and Montana. They were hit with a very strong jolt, a powerful 4.5 magnitude earthquake recorded in Yellowstone National Park in the evening last night. But it's been followed by several earthquakes, including a 2.7 all the way to 3.1. Here's the whole thing. It's very shallow. Very, very shallow. Let me give you an update now what's been going on. If you guys remember, 2 days ago, I noticed that there was a 3.7 or so earthquake in Yellowstone there in Montana. And I said, I don't like it. I don't like it. And there was a couple more smaller aftershocks. I kept saying, I don't like it. I don't like it. Don't let this super volcano open up and awake. Here's what's happened in the last 24 hours. All right. Now, there's been several quakes. Some of them 4.6 in Indonesia, 4.5 in Fiji, We understand these areas, 4.6 the Philippines, 4.5 Papua New Guinea, 4.2 in Chile, 4.5. This is when it happened. Yellowstone last night, around 6:48 p.m. Mountain Time. Here we go. A 4.5 jolt in Yellowstone National Park, followed by a 2.7. And remember, this 4.5 earthquake that hit Yellowstone in Montana was only 9.4 kilometers deep, followed by a 2.7, then another 2.6, then a 3.1. All of these earthquakes taking place within about a 3-minute period. Then the Philippines had a 4.9, and then here goes Yellowstone, 2.9. And then Arkansas, Harrison, Arkansas then must have felt the jolt, because then Harrison, Arkansas had a quake of 2.9. Then Washington State, over just not too far from the Yellowstone area, had a 3.6. Then we kept going and kept studying what was going on. Alaska had a couple quakes. We had a 4.2 in El Salvador, and a 2.9 in Ferndale, California, 3.3 in Ferndale, California, a 4.3 in Argentina, a 4.7 in Papua New Guinea. Alaska had a couple more quakes of 3.6 and 2.7, and then it happened again. Yellowstone, powerful 2.8, again very shallow. Alaska with a 2.9, Chile with a 4.4, and then Yellowstone just a few minutes ago, a 2.7. So we continue to see these quakes. They're not slowing down, folks. Yellowstone National Park, Montana, Yellowstone, Montana is where this quake epicenter is, and the aftershocks continue. And remember, we're dealing here with a supervolcano with the potential of an eruption. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if, and scientists say when it goes, and who knows, that could be what, 100 years from now, 100 days from now, no guarantees on this thing, but it is a massive supervolcano that is so large that it would literally destroy the northwest portion of the United States and part of southwestern Canada. That would just be from the initial eruption and the shock waves and the fire and the brimstone, the smoke and the ash would really send the United States and Canada into a dark winter for about 3 years. Vegetation would start dying. You have to understand, we're talking about a cataclysmic, apocalyptic, nearly extinction of this side of the hemisphere. So this is not nothing to play with. And if you're having a 4.5 earthquake followed by a lot of aftershocks right there, you got to watch it. And I said this 2 days ago. Now, I'm not a seismologist. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not a climatologist. I'm not a cosmetologist. I'm not an ophthalmologist or even a cardiologist. But I am I've been watching what's going on. How's that? A country preacher in the cornfields of Indiana. I can just tell you, I know what the Bible says. From eschatology is concerned, these are the types of events that the Bible spoke of. Great earthquakes. And you have to understand, don't forget Pastor Dr. Katie Collin. Dr. Katie Collin of Harvest Army. He has prophesied of a great earthquake coming upon America. And this is not a man that just blows smoke. And he's had an unbelievable amount of prophecies come true, incredibly. All over the world, he has been able to, God has revealed to him earthquakes and different types of things. So we're going to watch very closely. He didn't say when, he didn't say where, but I think we should be aware that we're living in the last days. Now, forget that. If you don't believe the science and if you don't believe the prophecies, then take the Bible. And Jesus said in the last days there would be earthquakes in diverse places. All right? Even a great shaking in the heavens and on the earth. Now, if you don't believe the Bible and you don't believe the science and you don't believe the prophecies of the prophets like Katie Collins, then I guess it'll take sight to completely cure the blind. Give your life to Jesus Christ. That might be too late, though. Give your life to Christ now. We are running out of time. Are you saved? Don't miss today's live broadcast. Starts at 12 noon Eastern. My guest is Rabbi Stephen Ben-Danoon. Did Russia kill al-Baghdadi of ISIS? We're going to ask Stephen Ben-Danoon. Is he really dead, or is this just another false rumor? And is the United States working with Russia to destroy ISIS? Because it seems ISIS is on the run. And if Baghdadi is dead in Raqqa, which is really the ISIS's unofficial capital, and if ISIS is being run out of Mosul, they're now cornered into one spot. Why couldn't the Obama administration in the 3 years, first of all, how did ISIS form? Who started the Arab Spring? Why did Obama pull out of Iraq early? How come he left all the weapons and hardware in cash? Why did he strike the deal with the Iranians? How come he smuggled cash into them on that airplane? And how come he couldn't defeat ISIS in the 3 more years he was president? Trump has been in office less than 6 months, been ridiculed from day one, protested, hated on, trashed by the media, can't find cooperation anywhere. And yet at the end of the day, within 6 months, he may have, along with Russia, they may have teamed up to put ISIS in a corner that they can't get out. And maybe the head of the snake's been decapitated, al-Baghdadi. I'll be back with more. We'll talk to Stephen Ben-Danoon when we come back. Are you saved?